Hello everyone, welcome back to ParsecGames and welcome back to our 5 Nested Phrase tutorial series. We're now on episode 10, and in this episode we're going to talk about how to program Bunny's AI, at least part 1 of Bunny's AI, which is Bunny coming to your door, and that's basically it. So this is probably not going to be a very long episode, but I'm going to start bringing them out more frequently now because the last one was, I think, over a month ago. And now I hope Bunny's AI part 2 is going to come out pretty soon after this video. Anyways, let's get started with the tutorial. So let's have a look inside. And last time what we did was we created Foxy's jump scare animation, and that worked. So now what we're going to do is we're going to obviously start working on Bunny's AI. So we're going to make a new sprite and call that Bunny. And let's just sort them a little bit. So I want to have all these AI sprites next to each other because it's just nicer to look at. And this sprite actually won't have any costumes because it's more coding and not really anything visual. So when the flag is pressed, nothing happens. So we're not going to add when the flag is pressed. And instead we're going to add when I receive start game. And this is going to start Bunny's AI loop. So we're going to add in forever. So the way Bunny's AI is actually going to work is pretty similar to Foxy's, which is why we're going to use lots of the stuff we've actually done for Foxy is going to be reused for Bunny, which is pretty practical because we're going to save some time that way. So what we're going to do is add a new variable and call that Bunny timer. And Bunny has what we're going to call a movement opportunity every 4.9 seconds, which means that every 4.9 seconds, it's going to pick a random number between 0 and 20. Or 1 and 20, and if this number is above Bunny's current AI level, then it's Bunny is going to move, and if not, he just stays in place. And in case you're confused by what I mean by AI levels, make sure to rewatch episode 8 and 9. That's where I explained how these AI levels work, and we're going to do it just like in the real game because that's how they work in the real game. We're going to set Bunny timer to 0 at the beginning when the game starts, and then every 0.1 seconds, we're going to increase it by 0.1. So it's basically a real timer. It just tells you how many seconds have passed. But we're going to use 0.1 seconds to be more exact. Because if we set it to wait 1 second and change by 1, it's going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we do it like this, it's going to be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and so on. So it's more precise. Now what we're going to do is add the main loop of Bunny's AI, which is going to work by adding start game once again. And once again a forever loop. But now it's going to wait until Bunny timer is above 4.9, which is the time it takes for Bunny to get a movement opportunity. So we're just going to add the variable above 4.9 here. And now we're going to add a new variable called Bunny random. And this is going to be set to a random number between 1 and 20. And now if Bunny's AI level is higher or equal to this randomly picked number, so the way we're going to check on that is by adding these in here. This way around. Bunny AI. Bunny is going to move. If it's not, then he's obviously not going to move. So we're going to need an if clause. I don't know if it's really called a clause. I don't speak English. And we're going to add this in here. And no matter if this is true or not, we're going to set the Bunny timer back to 0. Where is it? Bunny timer. Yeah, someone commented actually that apparently, and I've never noticed this, the variables are actually sorted alphabetically, which now that I've been told is pretty obvious, but I just never noticed it. And I'm just checking. Okay, so the broadcasts are also sorted alphabetically, which is very good to know. Thank you for commenting that. I don't remember who commented it, but thank you whoever commented that. Thank you. Now, if this is true, Bunny's going to have a movement opportunity. So the thing with Bunny is he can teleport to any room basically, except if he's already in room 2B. In that case, he will either go into your door and you can only see him with your light, or he will go back to the hallway. So the way we're going to check whether Bunny is in 2B or not is we're going to look at the list animatronics. Obviously these stand for Freddy, Bunny, Chica, and Foxy. And the way we're going to check that is just we're going to check if item 2 of animatronics equals 2B. If that's the case, that means that Bunny is in 2B, and if not, he's anywhere else. So in the case that he's anywhere else, he will go to any room that he can go to. So we're going to make a new list called Bonnie's rooms. And in this list, we're just going to add all the rooms that Bonnie can actually go to. And we're going to add these at the beginning of the game. So we're going to delete everything from Bonnie's rooms and then add 1B, 5, 2A, and 3. These are the rooms that Bonnie can just go to. And we need to add these to Bonnie's room, obviously. So be careful to add them to the right list. Like that. And now you might be wondering, where is 2B? Well, he can only go to 2B if he's already been to 2A or 3. So we're also going to add if item 2 of animatronics list is 2A or it's 3. So 2A or 3. That means he's either in the hallway or in the, I think, utility closet. If that's the case, he might go to 2B. But if not, he actually can't go to 2B. So we're going to first of all do the general thing, which is if he's in one of these two rooms, in 1B or 5, he can teleport to basically any other room. So we're just gonna add replace item 2, which stands for Bonnie in the list of animatronics, with a random element or item from Bonnie's room, which is a list from 1 to 4. So it's going to be a random number between 1 and 4. So now it would be, he would go to room 5, 2A, 2A again, 5, 1B, and so on. So it's always random. And we're going to put this in here. So we replace the item in the animatronics list, which stands for Bonnie, which is number 2, with a random element from Bonnie's room. So let's just try that out. So now he would go to 2A, 3, 1B, 2A, 5, and so on. So we can just add that in here. And now, in case he's in either 2A or 3, two things can happen. Either he goes to one of these rooms. So we're going to add in equals 1, pick random. So there's a 50% chance he will just go to a random room, or he will actually go to the corner, which is 2B. So let's replace it with 2B. Okay, so let's just have a look through it again. So if he's in either 2A or 3, which is the hallway or the utility closet, there's a 50% chance he will just go to any other room, random room, or he will go to 2B, which is the corner. And if he's in 2B, then there's once again a 50-50 chance that he will either go into your office door, or he will just go back anywhere else. So once again, 50-50, just duplicate that in here. And if 50% chance is that he will go to any other room, or he will actually go to your door, which we're just going to call door. Very creative. And in case he's in the door, you can obviously see him when he's in the door when you turn on your light. So we're just going to have a look at the office sprite, and we're going to look at the part where you look at the left door, which is this part right here. And now what we need to do is we need to import the image where Bonnie is in the left side door. So we're just going to import that. So you're going to have to look at textures, office. Where's office? Office. Now we're just going to have a look. Need to pick out the one with Bonnie, which is 225. And now we're going to check each time it would normally turn to this frame, which is the empty doorway. We're going to check if Bonnie is actually in the door. And if that's the case, we will switch to the costume with Bonnie in the doorway. And if not, he will switch to the normal costume. So if item 2 of animatronics equals door, which means Bonnie is in the left doorway, then he will switch to costume 225. And if not, he will switch to costume 10 or 10. So now Bonnie will be visible in the door if he's there, but he cannot be seen in any of the other rooms, because we need to create a connection between this list of animatronics, where they are, and the actual camera sprites. Because as you can see, with the sprites, we actually used its own list for every single room. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the general AI. And when I start the game, repeat forever. And basically what we need to do now is we need to check if the animatronics have changed, if the position of the animatronics has changed. And if it has, we need to change every single list which contains the animatronics which are in each of the rooms. And we're going to need to change that depending on where the animatronics actually went. So we need to check, first of all, if the list has changed, the animatronics list. The way we're going to do that is we're going to just make a new variable called previous animatronics. And we're going to check this every, I'd say 0.1 seconds or something, or really quickly. And the way we're going to do that is just set previous animatronics to animatronics. As you can see, this is now 1A, 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 1C. And we're just going to do that every 0.1 seconds or even 0.01 seconds, really, really quickly. So this is always a bit outdated, possibly, because if you change the animatronics positioning, 0.01 seconds later, he will notice that something has changed. The way we're going to do that is if animatronics equals previous animatronics, and right now this should be true, yep. But if it's not true, that means that they just moved within these 0.01 seconds where we didn't check, and this is going to have to happen afterwards. If they have moved, we're going to have to change all these lists again, and the way we're going to do that is if item 1 of animatronics, which stands for Freddy's positioning, we're going to quickly remove all animatronics from all room lists. Like this. That's going to happen if they have moved, which is in this case. And then we're going to check, first of all, where Freddy went. So item 1 of animatronics, if that equals 1A, we're going to add Freddy to 1A. And if it equals 1B, we're going to add him to 1B and so on. So for every room. And we're going to have to do this for every animatronic. So this is kind of tedious work, but it has to be done so we can create the connection between the actual room sprites and the AI sprites. This is all for Freddy. I know this is a lot of stuff, but it has to be done. And now what we can just do is we're gonna put in 2 and 2 again. So now we're checking basically for Bonnie. So now we can just copy paste this for each of the animatronics. So it's not that much work. And we also need to change this to B, 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 and make sure it's a capital B, 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 B. And now once again the same thing for Chica also. And we can already add this down here. Item 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. I'm gonna add in a C, 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 and so on for each and every room. And let's just add that down here. Now this is going to go in here. So now they're actually not going to be there at the beginning of the game, because at the beginning of the game, every camera clears their own animatronics list. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica right at the beginning, but we're going to wait just a moment after the game starts, so that there's time for these lists to be cleared before we fill them again. So now let's restart the game and let's have a look. And as you can see now they are all here, which is very good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check that we can actually change Bonnie's location and all the lists will notice, so to speak. So we're going to replace item 2 of animatronics, which stands for Bonnie, with, for example, 5. And now as you can see, they haven't moved yet because the camera sprites only change when we actually change the camera, which we're going to change by adding in the weird camera problems that you sometimes see where like there's a weird sound and the cameras turn black. We're going to add that in a moment. But now if we go to 5, you can see Bonnie has actually moved to 5, so this worked. And if we go back to 1A, he's not in 1A anymore. So this actually works. Now if we, for example, enter 3 or something, he's not here anymore. We need to look at camera 3 to see him. So that works really well. All we need to add now is that if Bonnie moves in a moment where you're looking at either the camera he's currently in or the one he's moving towards, there's going to be a camera problem. So we need to add that as well. So let's go back to Bonnie's AI. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to unpack all of this into its own broadcast, which is going to be called Bonnie Move. And now we can all put this into this broadcast. Now we can also add another thing to Bonnie Move, which is that if we're currently looking at the camera that Bonnie's in, which means that item 2 of animatronics equals, where is it? Camera menu select, which means we're looking at Bonnie at the moment, which is actually true. We were looking at Bonnie, so this is true. We're gonna send out a broadcast which is called camera problems. And now we can also add this to the end of each of these, so that if the room that Bonnie has moved to is the one we were currently looking at, there's also going to be camera problems. So now we need to actually add in the camera problems. And the way this is going to work is pretty simple. We're just going to add in a new black sprite. So we're going to convert the new sprite to bitmap and make it completely black, like this. And now obviously at the beginning of the game, this sprite needs to be hidden. And go to the middle of the screen. And if this sprite receives camera problems, where is it? Camera problems, alphabetical. It's gonna show itself. And when that happens, you probably know from the game that there's a weird sound effect that comes with it. So we need to go to sounds, cameras, and then these 3, gobble 1, 2, 3 are the sounds. And these are gonna be played. It's going to choose a random one, random of the 3 until it's done, and then hide again. So what we need to do is make it go to front layer, but then go backwards a couple of layers. We're just going to need to test this out. So 5 isn't enough. I'm going to try out 15, and 60 is the correct number apparently. So that's what you see when there's a camera problem. And now to make sure that Bonnie's camera turns black if he moves while you're looking at him, we're going to add in a small wait time here. And now there's 2 things we need to add. First of all, the camera problems are only visible obviously if you have the camera up. So we need to actually do this with a variable, but this is only going to be for the sprite. Camera problems. And instead of just showing and hiding the layer, we're going to change this variable, camera problems. Where is it? Camera problems. We're going to set it to 1 and then again to 0 at the end. Like this. And now when I receive start game, it's always going to be checking if the camera is up and there's camera problems. And if both are true, it's going to go show itself. So if camera problems equals 1, which is true, and the camera is also up, which also means camera up equals 1, and camera problems equals 1. That means the camera is up and it's having problems right now. And in that case, this sprite is going to show itself and go to the front layer and then 60 layers backwards. And if not, it's just going to hide. And also, if the camera's up, it's going to be at full volume, the garble noises. And if not, it's going to be at 50%. So you can still notice that the camera is having problems right now. But it's not as loud because you don't actually have the camera screen right up at your face. And then another thing we actually need to do is that when this is over, we need to make sure that we actually refresh all the cameras. So what we're going to do is just add a camera change in here, so that when the garbling is over, it's actually going to refresh all the cameras. And another thing we're going to change is that this should only happen if the camera is actually up, because if not, there's not going to be camera problems if body is trying to move. So we're going to add in and camera up equals 1 in here. And add the same thing over here. Because if you're not looking at the camera, Bonnie will not break your camera, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know what happens actually in the context of the game. How the animatronics break your camera for a moment, I don't know how that works. I guess they're possessed. I guess they have magical powers. I don't know. So what I just noticed is that actually in Cam 2B we have a problem, which is that the sprite B actually doesn't exist. We need to switch to B1, which is this one. And we already added that if the knight is above 3, he will do that weird twitching he does. But if it's not, he should switch to B1 and not B, because B doesn't exist. And now that should have fixed it. And I think we're done for today. So we just actually got it working that Bonnie moves around the pizzeria. And in the next episode, we're going to add in the stuff that happens as soon as he's at your door. Because that's a bit different, because obviously if you put the camera back up while he's in your door, he disables your door. And then as soon as you put the camera down, he jump scares you, or he waits 30 seconds if you don't put down your camera, and then he jump scares you. So we're just going to add the whole jump scare stuff and the whole door stuff in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to leave a like, comment if you're having any trouble. I'll try to help you. And make sure to subscribe and ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next video.